crispy.
And welcome back to yet another episode of the Chronicles of Al Figures. And this dial is complete. This is the fourth dial in the, which I am now calling, or what now I am calling, the Windows to the Wall series. So there's going to be four of these, all of them just incorporating these 3D printed windows that I've showed you guys before. I have a ton of them. So got to find ways to move them. I don't want to get rid of them. I mean, I conceivably could give some to dial builders. Actually, I may do that. I may just see who's interested in some, and I can just ship them to people. But so all four of these dials, and in this video, I'll bring all four out and kind of show all four of them together. But this is the fourth one. And what I noticed is in the third one I did put a little sign or a little, you know, I almost called it advertising, but just like a little street sign. And so I didn't for the first two, but I did cut some out last night. So I'll be putting these two on the two that don't have any signage yet, just to give it a little more street feel. But just wanted to put kind of a close to 6-inch figure. This is a little shorter than 6-inch. This is an older, I think Street Fighter figure, Tekken. I don't know, one of those. But just so you get an idea. But this one is all set. And I went to bed last night, and my ex-wife actually bought me this for Christmas. We're still very we're still cool. That's my family. So she had bought me this for Christmas. It's like a pen holder, and I love it, but it's just there's something that got stuck in there, and like you can't. It's just, you know, I like it more, or I want it more to kind of just decorate, just put it somewhere in the house just by itself. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna take out this glue stick there. What I did is I saw this as a free print, and I decided to print it. So I started to print it. It was I went to sleep before it finished, and I got up in the middle of the night, and then I noticed that the filament had run out. So I threw in the gray. So now we have kind of a two-tone pen holder, which is pretty cool. Came out pretty cool. But now I have a pen holder that kind of works a little bit more for it, because I had more things in it, but just over time I would just not put it because they fall out, whatever it was. But now I have this pen holder that can replace this, and I can put this somewhere in the apartment to kind of decorate. I mean, I already have a little Michael Myers section there. Well, not a Michael Myers section, but I have a Michael Myers there. I have different kind of decorations around the house, so I may put it here. I don't know. I think that may disrupt. I think the controller kind of. So I may put it here on the other side, one or the other. I have to actually dust. I just noticed. But yeah, so I'm glad that I can do this more of a decoration piece. And now I have this 3D printed pen holder. So this is the third thing I printed. So I'm waiting for my cousin to send me some files, and I now need to start kind of jotting down some of the things that I want to 3D print. So yesterday somebody left a comment on the last YouTube my last YouTube episode, and said creating dioramas using foam is a dying art. I think the comment, I'm gonna try to quote it, but please don't stop using foam. So never never. I love working with foam. I love the hands-on approach of what it takes to create these. 3D prints are great. You know, when I was in Florida at Chris's crib, it was amazing. It was the work that he's putting out. Him and Innovation Studios is top tier, no doubt about it. But I can't see myself just doing 3D printed dioramas. I can't. A lot of it would have to. I'd have to learn the program, and it's a lot of it is behind a keyboard, and I just, as a graffiti artist, I like to work with my hands and create art with my hands. So this 3D printer wasn't made so that I can get away from creating dioramas made out of XPS foam. It was made so that I can enhance that art form. So for example, I hand cut this. It looks great. But if I can create a 3D print of this in different windows, then I can still work with foam and I'm just plugging in 3D pieces. There's benefits to it as it gives it a nice look to kind of have a very precise print of a real world object. So no, I'm never gonna quit working with the XPS foam. I love XPS foam. I love everything about it, but I do want to incorporate the 3D printing portion into my art. So to answer that question, I love this. I won't do it. I'm gonna stick to this and just doors, AC vents, air conditioners, units for the top of of buildings, stairs or ladders, window frames, door frames. Those are the things I want to create via 3D printing and incorporate into the foam. And so yeah, so just wanted to kind of be clear on that, as that's very very important to me. Oh, and I wanted to add before I go into the next segment of this video, I wanted to add that. So this is the so I had bought a 2x2 piece. This diorama took that corner of it. So I'm in bed last night. I'm thinking, you know what? And I kind of mentioned this where I was thinking about doing like a bigger diorama that's a little more extensive, a little more I don't know, just a bigger space. My biggest, I don't know, fear, we can say it's fear. I try not to be afraid of anything, but I guess my biggest hang up, let's call it that, is for these cons, because these are being created for the con. For these cons, I want my art to be accessible to people. I want people to be able to buy these pieces, take them home, and my piece of art, something I created, is sitting in someone's home. I love that idea, and so I'm always conscious of price. So something like this is going to be a lot cheaper than if I create a bigger diorama like that sci-fi dial in the corner that I haven't worked on for years. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do a 16, because in my mind I'm like, yo, if I can do like a 16-inch long dial, I think it'll be a little pricier and it may not sell, but it'll be a good representation of what my dioramas normally look like for commissions, what they normally look like in terms of what people are asking for, because a lot of it is action figure photography. So yeah, so this is 16 inches across, so I'm going to do 16 inches across, and I'm probably going to do 10 inches deep maybe, and then 12 inches tall, and then I'm going to do like a side wall. And I think I'm going to use these two printed windows. I have these two left, so I think I'm going to use these two on one side, and then I'm going to have maybe a set of stairs going into a door that's on this side. And I think that'll be pretty cool. And then I can do a little more because I have more space. So that's going to be the idea for, and I got these from Chris as well. Been wanting to use them, just didn't know how, and I think this is going to be the perfect opportunity to use them. So wanted to share that. So I will, instead of working on 3D boxes, I'm gonna put those aside for a bit. I'm gonna work on this for the next 3-4 days, and this will be number 5. Bakery's number 6, right? And then 7, 8 are the two shadow boxes. So the goal was to have 8 new pieces to put into the show. All right, I'm out. So this will be the 5th diorama I'm working on for the Boston Toy Con, and this is actually the biggest diorama. I mean, mind you, I've only done two toy cons, or 2 cons, and this will be my 3rd con coming up in actually a month from today. Today is September 12th, and the con is on October 12th, and this is the biggest one yet that I've put out. Again, as I was explaining earlier, I just want to make it affordable, so whenever you're working on something that's a little bit bigger, you're gonna have to charge a little bit more. But let's see how it works out. I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll sell. Let's see how that goes. And even if it doesn't, there's other avenues to sell it if I decide to do that. So here we have the homie Peter Parker, and I need to come up with some stairs that are gonna kind of go up to this doorway. So I've created stairs before, man. I just forget sometimes. I just forget how I go about them. So I literally just laid on my sofa for like 20 minutes, half an hour, just like, yo, how do I? So I remembered. I remember now. So the first thing I got to do is just measure, kind of just put his feet there, and it allows me to kind of decide what we're looking at in terms of how wide they should be or how deep they should be. So this looks about right to me. That's probably a normal, I'm going off of the feet of a Marvel Legend, so that's probably going to be a normal scale to this diorama. So what I'll do is, because it's going to be 3 steps, so I just have to measure this 3 times, and that's how long it'll be coming out. And then I just have to figure out the height. It's going to be half of this, so we're looking at half an inch, so about 1.5 inches to the top. So from bottom to top, 1.5 inches. So let's figure this out. And so what we're looking at is I don't know, maybe 1 inch. Let me see how it looks on this side. Yeah, so go 3.5 in terms of the metric side, and then what we'll do is this will kind of be the base of it, and then I'll kind of build off of this. So 3.5, and then we'll just kind of go over here and do this. One of the things I need to get more in the habit of is reviewing or checking out my older videos. All right, so altogether we're looking at 10.5, and so we're gonna first slice this here, and then the door is 9, and so we're going to slice this here. And this should get us kind of our base. So this is going to be the base of the stairs. Yeah, it fits nicely right there. Then what we're going to do is, this has to be half of the height. So come over here, and I'm gonna do a little less because I am gonna put an extra step, an extra piece of like cement. So we're gonna go a little smaller here. That's perfect. And then we do the same thing with this piece. So now we have, I wonder if this is the same. Oh, this might actually work perfectly. This was what I cut out from the door, because the door I wanted it recessed in, and I actually want to put styrene for the door. So it's gonna have a piece of styrene so it'll look nice and shiny and match the vents. Oh, I wanted to mention I did 3D print this piece. Actually printed it for my job. It's a 35-40 minute drive from my home, and I printed it remotely, and then I added these half beads here, and glued those on there to give it a little bit of a look, but it fit perfectly. I just kind of went blind and found the STL or whatever on the Bamboo app, printed it, looking good. So now we're gonna do one more step. So it's gonna be, excuse me, I'm gonna cut this at 3.5. Go back over here, the Proxon. Man, it's so dope that I actually have 2 spaces. I used to have to pull out the Proxon, get it out the way, because I only had 1 desk, and now I just have a whole kitchen. which is great. And we'll keep doing this. Stairs laid in. So basically it's just a 3-part construction with a little bit of a cement step. It sized perfectly, nice and flush there. Kind of glued everything together. I remember there was a time where I would glue everything together and then paint it afterwards, and it was always the worst thing in the world because I'd have to try to make sure to not paint this part. It was just a mess. So what I usually do now is I'll just put a couple glue dots, hot glue, just a couple dots, put it together, take that initial picture of what it looks like when it's just cut up, and then I take it apart, paint it. It makes it so much easier to paint it. For example, these aren't really glued, it's just a couple dots, so that I can just take that apart, paint that in brick, and not have to worry about getting red on the gray, or gray on the red. So yeah, so this is what it's looking like so far. Tomorrow I'll get to painting. I'm gonna spray paint this black. This is gonna be red. We're gonna do a gray here, pavement color here on the ground, and it'll be a good contrasting because we'll have darker gray, light gray, darker gray, lighter gray, the red, the blacks. It's gonna look great once it's painted up. So I went to bed last night and was pretty happy with what I did. I don't know if I recorded the sidewalk carving, but as I'm sitting looking at, a lot of times when I create these dioramas, I'll just sometimes sit and stare at it for a while and try to envision what I want it to look like, what it's gonna look like, and for the most part, it always comes out how I had kind of envisioned it. But then there are times where I just go to bed and because I had stared at it so long, it's still in my head, So last night I go to bed and I'm like, man, I'm liking how it's coming out, but there's just something missing. I just want to make it a little more, just a little. I want to give it some extra. And so I figured out, or I decided to add this little piece to it. So I got up this morning and did that. And I think it's going to be great just because of the grays happening here. I mean, the windows are going to be black, gray, gray in the bottom, gray sidewalk. So I just thought, man, if I can put a red stripe, essentially of paint, in this case, it's the bricks. I think it'll look really cool to kind of separate the grays a little bit. And yeah, so I went with that. And then I also thought, you know what? Originally, I was going to make it like another alleyway style. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. These windows are too fancy for them to be in an alleyway. So instead, I'm going to make this kind of the front of a building. So I decided to go with the sidewalk. And then what I'm going to do here, the reason that this is a little bit different is because I'm going to do like a little grass here. As you know, anyone who actually, I think I'm going to do kind of another little stripe here like this here to kind of separate the grass from the sidewalk. So that green with the gray, with the red, with the black are great colors. And a lot of times when you're creating art, you want the person looking at your art, you want their eyes to shoot around to kind of look at everything. And as your eyes are doing that, it's forming in your head this visual, and it's more striking versus something that's a little more bland. And that's something I learned with graffiti. With graffiti, it was very important to, for example, the yellow here is making this come out a little bit more. The greens inside just separated a little bit by these blues, and then the orange force fill at the end. There's another good example where there's some browns with reds and blues. So wanted to tap into that experience and came up with that. So it is now time to start to paint this thing. And we are to the painting portion of this. So as I was explaining to you guys, there was a time where I would kind of put everything together, glue everything into place, and then start to paint it afterwards, which was a little difficult because, for example, this piece goes down here. So if I would have glued this ahead of time, the issue would have been that now I'm trying to get that red and not get it on on the cement here, and so I would have to put measures in to make sure that I wasn't doing that. But now, or it's funny because in the beginning, this is what I did. Then I got to a point where I would get like super excited, just want to glue everything together, and I'm back to just taking it easy, slowing it down, and just painting every piece individually. So then when I put it together, it's just like a piece, like a puzzle, just coming together, and it's looking better. It's much easier to deal with. So this is what it looks like in terms of where we're at. I did want to mention that because I did have I did paint this styrene for the door in black. I couldn't use regular acrylic paint because it's just not as, I don't know, it's not as glossy a black. Even if it's a glossy black, it just looks different. So what this is airbrush paint. So this is airbrush paint, and I think this matches up a little bit better to the door. So painted this first. This is the only wall I have to paint, and then everything else will come into place once I put the Mod Podge down. So I'm going to do that now, then put the spackling in. Once that dries, I'm able to kind of glue everything together, and then once everything's kind of in place, the windows, the doors, all the borders, then I can start working on weathering it a little bit. Now I'm not going to go with like a dirty alleyway style, as I mentioned. I'm going to go more with a residential type of look. So this is where we are in the process. So I'm coming to a very close to finishing this dial. I just need to make this doorknob hole a little wider, as there's a doorknob that I'm going to put in there. Fits just fine. So I'm going to put this, then put the doorknob in here, and then put the doorknob on, or put the door itself there. And let's see, I may want to, this is a Dremel 200, and I've been using this Dremel for a while now, and I use it to it's almost like a drill, but it's just a smaller, kind of smaller tool. And let's see it here. Gonna widen this up so the doorknob will go in there with no issue. Let's see. All right, doorknob looks like it's going to fit. So this this piece here is just a foam sheet, but with a sticky back. So I cut it out, painted it. And what I want to do here is I want to kind of poke it through so I can kind of make sure it goes in there. But before I do that, just put a little bit of tacky glue, just so that it sticks in there pretty good. So I have this. I'll find the hole, and then I'll make sure I don't stick this just yet until I want to make sure I put it in there nice and straight, and that looks good. Let's poke it in there. Alright, there we go. Alright. Alright, so that's in there. This is gonna stick just fine. It's a little wobbly, you can probably see, but that glue will make it non-wobbly once it dries up. And then I'll just take some glue and kind of put it around the edges, pop it into there, and I'll be right back with how that will look. So here it is, pretty much built up. It's everything that needs to be done on this is done, except I may do something here, I'm not sure yet. But took some of this acrylic glass and spray painted in yellow, and then put the kind of the shiny side sticking out here, so you're gonna be able to get kind of a look of you know, that and I still have to glue this. I have to shift it up a little bit. I haven't glued this piece because you can see there's a little bit of a gap, but I'm gonna just shift it up and it should be fine. You guys just saw me doing the door. I magnetized this piece, and then today I stopped at Hobby Lobby and got this grass, which is this 19 by 25 light green grass mat. $6 at Hobby Lobby, and I've used this before, and I like how there's a contrast there in terms of the green, the yellow, the reds, the grays, and the black kind of puts it all together. Painted this border in black as well as this border in black, and painted all of it in black. I still have to do this. This is the last piece I have to paint in black, and the glue is still drying. But because it's gonna be at a con, I wanted to make sure. Usually, if it's for action figure photography, I rarely ever paint this, because people do photography in here, so the back and the side doesn't matter. But because this will be displayed, I wanted to make sure that I had this in black. The back will stay raw in that pink. I put a little same deal here, put kind of spray painted in black, and put that so you can kind of see through it a little bit, but not enough that you can see anything on the other side of it. And so now the next step is to dirty this up a little bit. It's not going to be an alleyway, so it's not going to be filthy and disgusting. It's probably just going to have some dirt in between the sidewalk lines there. Same up here, maybe a little bit of dirt here, obviously some stuff coming off the vent, but it's not going to be major. It's going to look again kind of residential, and this is where we are with it. I'm very happy with how this came out, man. This looks really, really good, and I'm excited to put it on display, because again, normally I'm selling those smaller dioramas, and so people don't get to see bigger pieces that I create, because of what I've explained several times. But definitely happy with how this is coming out, and again, just now time to dirty it a bit, and I should be done. It is Monday, it is September, what's today, Monday, September 15th, so I should be done with this by tomorrow, which will be 5 completed. Still got those 2 shadow boxes, which will make it a total of 7, and then still got this bakery, which is probably the last piece because I put a lot of work into this already. So this will be the last piece. I also need a floor for the top, so I either gotta have that I wasn't sure what I was gonna do in this corner, and I remember getting these prints from Chris a long time ago that were like these flat ornate type of, I guess, decorations you would see on the sides of the building. So I started looking for them. I couldn't find them, but then I found this. I completely forgot about this, so I bought this. This probably cost me $8 or $9, and I bought this a couple years ago, and it's battery operated. It's magnetized, and you can turn it on and off switch button. So I said, you know what, this is a great idea to put it here. So let's see what it looks like. So I just got it magnetized there, put some piping, and I think it looks pretty dope. Pretty dope little addition. And it just, one standard battery, you twist it off, which is kind of cool because it'll be easy to replace. So you kind of, it's like a little twist off, and it just has one of these batteries. And so this is dope, man. This is dope. So this is what I'm gonna use for this space here above the door, and I think it's a perfect complement to this dial. And I just put that piping in. The glue's still wet, kind of wrapped around here, and yeah. So now I'm really all set in terms of the build of this, and now it's time to just weather it. And this diorama is complete. This will be going up for sale exclusively at the Boston Toy Con, happening at the Armory for the Arts in Somerville on October 12th, from Sunday, October 12th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And this is gonna be up there and on display and for sale, and I'm very happy with how it came out. I wanted to get away for a little bit from doing kind of that gunky, destroyed looking alleyways with all the debris, which I love to do, but I wanted to do something a little more cleaner, something a little more residential. And this is what I came up with. As you guys have been following through, these two windows are 3D printed and were gifted to me by Chris over at Toy Blocks. This vent I actually printed myself on my new Bamboo Lab 3D printer. The door is styrene, just spray painted styrene, and wanted to give it again more of a slightly weathered look, and I'm happy with the results. I just went in and the splits here in the cement just got them a little dirty. Same thing up here, little dirty around the vent itself, a little dirt underneath the light. Ended up painting this last night because I just felt it just didn't look right being white. So this has a little switch here that you can just turn on and off, and you can just magnetize right there, spin it around so you don't see the on and off button, and it kind of connects right to that pipe. This is just hobby piping, some copper wire to put it in. Yeah, very happy with how this came out. It's a good action figure photography piece, as well as a good display piece. And I tend to forget to do this from time to time, but I've been better at it. But I'll show you guys how it breaks down. So this is just magnetized. This is just one piece. As you can see, I painted the black, or the back in black. And then we have the stairs. I also magnetized those as well. You can see where the slight weathering there, but this is another piece that comes off. It's magnetized. And then finally the back piece, and this is what you have for a breakdown in terms of this style. Just 4 pieces. And as I've said before, one of my favorite things is that these are modular and you can just take them apart. And if I sell this piece, it's something I can just kind of put together real quick and bag it up, and you're just taking this versus taking a permanent piece, and then it goes back together fairly. You just snap that back in, take this side piece, and just there's always going to be a little gap there, so you just kind of press that in. And then I always like to kind of press those almost like with your fingers, you're leveling it in the back, in the back. And so that's all set there. Then you kind of put the stairs into play, and boom, you have a piece. So this is all set. I just have to glue these windows. Still a little bit of a gap there, so I have to kind of stuff that in there. But I'm going to glue that with tacky glue before I go to work, so that by the time I come back, it's all set. And this is the end of the diorama portion of this episode of the Chronicles of Al Figures. And I just have a little, not unboxing, but just a little bit of a, just showing you guys some of the figures I've gotten the last couple of weeks, as well as some new sneakers. You know, I love sneakers, and I got some new ones at a great price. And that will be the last segment of this YouTube video. And I'll see you guys on the next one. So I got a couple new figures in the last week and a half to 2 weeks. So I had seen this Dr. Mindbender when I was over at in Canada, in Montreal, but it was at EB Games, which is what GameStop used to be called, but it's now EB Games in Canada, GameStop here in America. And I get a $5 coupon once a month for being a GameStop Pro or having a GameStop Pro membership. So was able to kind of wait and hopefully, or was hoping that this would eventually get to GameStop, or that I would find it. And so I found it, got $5 off, so I grabbed this. I do have and it was $5 off, which is great, so I didn't have to pay the $27.99. And I do have the Dr. Mindbender SDCC figure that came with more props and kind of a lab type of thing, but this one has the soft goods cape, so I was happy to grab that. And then my awesome girlfriend grabbed this for me on Amazon, and it just arrived at her place a couple days ago. And when I was younger, I loved when I got this figure. I was like, man, Cobra Commander's really ready to just kick ass and shit. Let's go. So happy that I grabbed this. And so the two newest pieces in the collection. And then the other thing that I'm actively collecting these days are sneakers. And this is a pair of Nike Zoom Vomero 5s. And this is my second pair, and I love my first pair so much that I don't even want to wear them because I feel like I'm going to wreck them. They're just so comfortable. I can just see myself wearing them daily. So this is the Nike Zoom Vomero 5 SESP. I forgot what that means. Do I have my phone? I don't have my phone because I did look it up. You know what? I'm going to pause this and go grab it. Alright, so this is my newest pair to the sneaker collection. A pair of Nike Zoom Vomero 5s. SESP, which means for special edition, and special project is what this Google AI is telling me. But I have, again, this is my second pair. I have one pair. I love them. I've worn them a few times. I put them away because I don't want to mess them up. So these retail for $160. I've had my eye on these for some time, but I'm not paying $160 for sneakers. For these anyway, as much as I love them. Finally on sale for 80 bucks. So I saw them, they had my size, grabbed them up. Again, a very comfortable shoe. What the young people these days refer to a dad shoe. I'll take it. I love the orange, just the orange strip kind of sets it off. And I love the 3M reflection. This is 3M stripe. It has the Nike Zoom. And a very clean pair. I love blue. It's one of my favorite colors to wear. One of my favorite colors in general. And then just the materials are great. You get a little bit of a mesh here. You have this grid here that seems like it's like a soft plastic. And then the faux leather. I love how the Nike swoosh here is almost like this is one piece. This whole thing. There's no stitching here. So this piece is just one piece that kind of lays into there, and that's pretty dope. I love this metal plastic grid in the back. Looks pretty dope. And then playing homage to Bill Bowerman, who's one of the founders of Nike. That's pretty dope as well. And yeah, this is the newest pair going right into the collection, and will be worn at some point. And there's actually 3 of them on both sides. So alright, and we are out of here.